Avicenna studied today, his learning method would probably be banned. Not because it was wrong, but because it worked too well. Avicenna did not learn the way modern education teaches people to learn. He did not chase grades. He did not memorize pages of text. And he did not accept ideas simply because they came from authority. Instead, he trained his mind to think independently, to question relentlessly, and to rebuild knowledge from its foundations. This single difference separated him from almost everyone else of his time. Avicenna believed that memorization created the illusion of intelligence. To him, repeating words without understanding their structure weakened the mind. He saw memorization as a shortcut that felt productive but produced fragile knowledge, knowledge that collapsed the moment it was questioned. While others tried to store information, Avicenna focused on understanding how ideas were formed, how they connected, and why they mattered. Knowledge, in his mind, was not a collection of facts, but a living system. When Avicenna approached a new subject, his first instinct was not to learn faster, but to learn correctly. He asked fundamental questions before anything else. Why does this idea exist? What problem was it meant to solve? What assumptions does it rely on? If those assumptions failed, the idea failed with them. Even if the concept came from a respected scholar, Avicenna refused to internalize it until it survived his own reasoning. This approach alone would make him incompatible with most modern classrooms. Today, students are rewarded for speed, compliance, and repetition. Questioning the material often slows progress and is subtly discouraged. Avicenna moved in the opposite direction. He slowed down deliberately. He believed speed without clarity was dangerous. Understanding was the goal, not completion. One of the most misunderstood aspects of Avicenna's learning method was how he dealt with difficulty. When he reached a mental block, he did not push harder. He stopped. He rested. He stepped away. He trusted that his mind would continue working beneath the surface. This was not laziness. It was strategic restraint. He understood that forcing clarity often destroyed it. Insight, he believed, arrived when the mind was given space. Centuries later, modern neuroscience would describe similar processes using different terminology. But Avicenna discovered this through observation and experience. He noticed that solutions often appeared after sleep, after walking, after moments of detachment. Where others saw distraction, he saw incubation. Avicenna also had a strict rule for judging whether he truly understood something. If he could not explain it clearly, in his own words, without preparation, he considered his understanding incomplete. Memorized knowledge failed this test instantly. Only structured understanding survived. That is why he constantly rewrote ideas, reorganized arguments, and rebuilt concepts mentally instead of copying texts word for word. This habit made his thinking unusually flexible. He could approach the same idea from multiple angles: logical, philosophical, practical. Medicine, philosophy, physics, and metaphysics were not separate domains to him. They were interconnected layers of the same reality. To understand the body, one had to understand the mind. To understand the mind, one had to understand logic. And to understand logic, one had to observe the world itself. Avicenna's discipline did not come from external pressure. There were no exams forcing him to study, no deadlines threatening failure. His discipline came from responsibility to his own intellect. Leaving a concept half understood felt like dishonesty. Skipping confusion felt like betrayal. So he stayed with problems longer than others were willing to. Sometimes for days, sometimes for weeks. Not because he was slow, but because he refused to move forward without clarity. Modern education systems would struggle with this approach because it cannot be easily measured. Deep understanding does not fit neatly into standardized tests. Mental transformation cannot be scored quickly. Avicenna's method values depth over speed, clarity over performance, and transformation over appearance. These values conflict with systems designed for efficiency and scale. While others accumulated information, Avicenna refined his thinking. Learning, to him, was not about adding more facts, but about removing confusion. Every idea had to strengthen the structure of his mind. Anything that introduced contradiction or vagueness was rejected. This is why his work remained relevant for centuries. It was not designed to impress his contemporaries. It was designed to endure. If Avicenna lived today, his learning method would likely be labeled inefficient, impractical, or even unacceptable, not because it fails, but because it challenges the foundation of how we define success in learning. His approach does not produce quick results. It produces lasting ones. And lasting results are often inconvenient for systems that prioritize speed. This raises an uncomfortable question. If Avicenna's method created one of the most influential minds in history, what does that say about how we learn today? Perhaps the problem is not intelligence. Perhaps the problem is training. We are taught to collect information, not to transform understanding. Avicenna's greatest legacy was not the volume of his writings, but the way he used his mind. His refusal to think shallowly, his willingness to slow down, his courage to question authority, his commitment to clarity over comfort. These qualities made his thinking dangerous in the best possible way, because a mind trained to think deeply cannot be easily controlled. And perhaps that is why, even today, Avicenna's way of learning feels almost illegal.